So, evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Evening.
My research in the past few months has been on the future of energy, alternative energy to be specific. And first of all, it's really hard to follow up after Spencer. Not quite as engaging, but I'll try my best. So, why energy interests me to begin with is an aspect of my background of how I grew up, where as I grew up, all we knew about energy was heat and light. And I'm sure many people understand what I'm talking about. And a lot of the time I spent in shags, as we call it in Kenya, up country, was around the fireplace with my grandmother, and we had a few light bulbs, but that was as much electricity as I knew about. So when you could say, learning about all these advances in technology and energy, I was like, oh, okay, why don't we have this back home? Why doesn't 80% of Africa have access to electricity? And so that's what set me up on the journey that I've been taking part in. So could anyone please take a guess at what that means, apart from the people who've seen this before, Ahmed? Learning?
3.5 out of 100.
Do you have any other guesses as to what that would be? Anthony?
Percentage of alternative energy used in Africa?
Close. The alternative energy part is correct. Fred?
Percentage of Africans with access to electricity?
No.
Percentage of alternative energy used in the world?
That's correct. So, this is the percentage of all the world's electricity that's coming from alternative energy. Now, the interesting thing is, alternative energy could power up the whole world with extra to spare. So I'll just give you an example. I'll start with a few statistics. If I had a boat, it would be easier. The world right now needs 12.9 terawatts of electricity at any given point. Now, a terawatt is this really, really big number, and that powers up the whole world. Alternative energy, I'll just talk about solar. Solar energy has the potential to give us 580 terawatts. This is excluding oceans, high mountains, and isolated areas. So with solar power alone, we could power the whole world many times over. The same goes for wind. And with that 580 terawatts, only 0.008% is used in the whole world. So that's a damning statistic. There's so much energy out there, but we're struggling to use fossil fuels, and as I mentioned in my abstract, there's the whole carbon argument, where 7 billion tons of carbon are emitted into the atmosphere every year. So there's huge potential in this field. And so what about our own home, Africa? Now, if you look up there, the big red, it should be red, the big red box is the area of the Sahara, if covered with solar collectors, that will power the whole world. So that little red box right there. And this has been identified by many. There's a company called Desertec that's actually investing in harnessing solar from Africa for Europe. So our own energy is being harnessed for other people's gain. So what can we do about it? We can't really invest 500 billion pounds as they are doing in the Sahara. But the interesting thing is, it's not only the Sahara. Now this map, okay, that should be red. The red spots are, most of them are in Africa. And where you can see the darker shades of brown or green as it is, are the places with the highest solar insolation in the world. So there's some in the Atlantic. Most of Africa is really dark, and other areas of the world. Now that means you can harness solar power from anywhere in Africa. you don't need to set up your collectors in the Sahara. You can set up your small solar panel at home and you do it. And the thing is, it's being done. This is a photo of Kailiza. It's an informal settlement in Cape Town. And I had a chance to visit when I went down last year. Now, Kailiza, the interesting thing is that they have the first clean development mechanism in Africa. So this is for the signatories of the Kyoto Protocol. And basically, it's the poor countries or developing countries selling carbon credits to richer countries. So they produce less carbon so that the other countries can produce more carbon. And in the case of Kailiza, 35% of the electricity is actually coming from solar water heaters. And as a fringe benefit of that, they actually sell their carbon credits to the UK. And that money is going to maintaining the heaters, buying new heaters, and community development programs. So there's a lot of benefits in addition to just having extra electricity at home. This is an example of solar cooking in Zanzibar. I'll show you a small video. In the video, we just have locals in the area preparing a local dish outside. And all you have is the solar panel, and it's just galvanized plastic. It's very cheap to get it mostly anywhere in Africa. And if you can't, it can be brought to the locals, locally, or the informal workers. Saying the solar panel is galvanized plastic, and that can be was made anywhere in Africa, or it could be brought in for cheap where it's not available. So in this case, we have Zanzibari villagers or residents making a meal of halua, and I've been told that's a sweet food that they have there. It's a delicacy, and this could as well be ugali or rice or chibija, wherever you're from. So you can have a small party with 3 of these. And what happens with this is that you have villagers pulling money to buy them. So it's not one family having their own. It's, say, a group of 3 families have one of these and they cook with it. And so basically you have the sun shining onto the plastic, and it centralizes the light at the center of the solar panel. The interesting thing is, it's also happening back home. So this is my home in Kenya, and my grandparents' home. And you know, my uncle was just like, "Dad, Mom, you guys need to move on to the new age." And we bought them solar panels. And so when we're there, while we also have the comfort of the kitchen where we can still go by the fireplace, we also get to go to the big house and watch news and watch a movie with our grandpa once in a while. So it also enhances comfort for the family.